Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. Suki Hotu. It has been a wonderful morning that you have joined us so early in the morning. Please continue to wish each other via the comment box. Sadhu to all of you. To those of you who are joining us for the very first time, the online team have an opening video to all our online Dharma events. This segment, we call it The Voices of Blooms. In this segment, we are featuring talented songwriters or composers or singers of Buddhist songs. The composer or the singers, and their songs will be introduced. They will tell us more about themselves, the group, or about the song. What are the inspirations? And that's very important to all of us to be involved in singing Buddhist songs. Talk about the song and the group they are involved in. Hopefully, this segment will also be able to publicize Buddhist songs as wide as possible. And this will serve as an encouragement to other talented Buddhists to use songs to promote the Dhamma. Brothers and sisters, this morning we are very happy to have two members. They are two young members of the Buddy Sings. Let us welcome the two young singers at Buddy Sings. They are Robin Yee and Kylie. Thank you for coming. These two young Robin Yee and Sister Kylie. Thank you for joining us in this Voices of Blooms.
Yes, thank you for having us. Thank you.
Oh, well, I'm also a fan of all the Buddhist songs, and especially I like to see young singers and composers of Buddhist songs. It gave us lots of encouragement. All right, Robin and Kylie, would you care to introduce yourself and let us know what part do you play in this picture? Oh.
Yes, so hi, I'm Robin. I'm 23 this year and I'm currently studying my engineering degree. And in the band, I'm usually the songwriter, vocalist, and occasional guitar or cajon player.
Hi, I'm Kylie. I'm 18 this year. So I'm currently the newest member of Buddy Sings, and I will be the keyboardist when it comes to performances. But I do play a part in helping out promote events and manage Buddy Sings' social media accounts.
Robin, I see that you are a songwriter in this group. What's your inspiration when it comes to writing a song?
Well, my inspiration is obviously the Dharma. Growing up, going to Dharma school, I've been exposed to the Dharma in many different ways. And currently, I'm actually a part of a youth group from BUBS, Bandar Utama Buddhist Society. Our youth group is called BUDDY, which stands for Bandar Utama Dharma Duta Youth. I'm currently part of the committee, and I also joined many Buddhist camps throughout the years. So throughout the years, I've gained a lot of Dharma knowledge from many teachers, and I believe one of the greatest teachers of Dharma is our own life experiences. So in many of my songs that I write, or many of Buddy Sing songs, I've written them from my own experiences, and hopefully that is something that many people can relate to as well.
Great. I like people who express themselves on their personal experiences. And to Kylie, you're the newest member of Buddy Sings. So before you joined Buddy Sings, how did you feel about the songs? And how does it feel to be part of Buddy Sings now?
Okay, so I first heard of Buddy Sings in 2018 Buddy Camp. So the first song they sang was Kata Yuda, which was the camp's theme song. So that was the first year they wrote their own songs, and performed that song to us during the camp. So while watching them perform, I felt very connected to the song because throughout the 5 days, they taught us a lot about gratitude, which is the meaning of kata nida. Kata nida means gratitude. So I felt deeply connected with the song and I looked up to them. I was like, it would be great if I could join them and be a part of them to spread music, spread the Dharma through music with them together. So yes, now I am a part of Buddy Sings, and it's a dream come true for me, truly, because I believe that what we're striving for to bring music and the Dharma together for the community is really a worth thing to do.
Wow, in other words, our Buddhist camps are planting seeds to all the young. So it really works. So hopefully you can also encourage the younger teens to join the Dharma camps. I think is very good. You can share your experience with them. And I say is that whatever they try to impart on you, it went inside and it works. Congratulations to you. And now I heard that the Buddy Sings is coming up with a new EP. How is it going now?
Oh, for our new EP. So far we have recorded our first song, Katanada. So like Kylie said just now, we have launched it in May. So for our audience, or for the audience listening to this right now, if you had missed our concert, you could still check it out at our Facebook page. It's called Buddy Sings Katanuta Live Concert. Yeah. And currently, we are also working on our second song, right? But we are still trying to gather enough funds to fund our recording process. So currently, we plan to have 3 songs released this year, 2021, and another 3 songs released next year. And we just can't wait to share our songs with everyone.
And we also hope to bring along everyone with us on this journey so we can let other youth groups, Buddhist youth groups, understand how it's done and learn from our successes and mistakes as well. So we are really open to inspire others to join us on this journey, and we want to raise awareness of some of the challenges that we go through trying to do this and achieve this, and what can be done to make it easier for other Buddhist youth groups to create and share Buddhist music to the community.
Wow, I can see that you guys also face some challenges. Well, I think what you're doing are very great, very good for the Buddhist community, and we will wish you luck, and you should be okay with all the publicity, and we hope there are people out there will support you in one way or another. And so now that we heard about the EP, what's the future of Buddy Sings then?
All right. So besides our EP, we are definitely working on more songs. The Dharma is really inspiring, and there's just so much to write about, so much to express about it. So do look forward to more songs to come. And next, of course, we'll be doing a lot more performances. Look forward to more gigs from us, especially the online one now, since the pandemic is happening, And of course, Wesak is coming, so we'll definitely be performing during Wesak.
Yes, and there will be more collabs from us as well. Recently, we had 2 live sessions with Plan B and Kayana Project from Indonesia. So in these live sessions, you kind of get to know them, get to know how it's like to be a Buddhist youth group in Indonesia, in Malaysia as well, and get to know their struggles as well as their triumph cards and their achievements and all that. Yeah. So if you'd like to support us, do visit our website at buddysings.com or like and share any of our songs on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram.
Wow. Oh, so there's something new here that I learned is that you are even connecting with outside Malaysia, with the Indonesians. Yes, I also go into the YouTube to listen to the Buddhist songs over there. Well, I'm very happy. There are many of us, we like to see the young uh, connecting with everyone, you know, uh, outside the Selangor state. And now we are doing over to Indonesia. It's not only the Dharma speakers or the Sangha members that who goes over to Indonesia to connect with the Buddhists at Indonesia. Congratulations for the great effort to Buddy Singhs. Well done, well done. Sadhu, sadhu to both of you and to the group. It is fantastic. So, brothers and sisters out there, you have heard their story, their inspirations in promoting the Dharma through Buddhist songs. It will be great that you send the links, send the videos to all your contacts, to your family members, to whoever that you know. And I will also encourage the Buddhist centers to make use of Buddhist songs for their Sunday Dharma school, for their Buddhist camps, and for their Buddhist events. It will create a ripple effect to the young so that we can bring Dharma to the younger people. And with that is that we must thank the Buddy Sings group, all the members in there who have taken pains, efforts in coming up with songs, trying to make it popular on all the Buddhist songs with Dharma messages. That's the end of our Voices of Bloom, and we wish them all the best. Sadhu.
There's something else that doesn't always stay the same, and that's us living in samsara, or the wheel of life. The entire process of samsara is impermanent and constantly changing. So, if we don't let go of our defilements, we'll be stuck in an endless cycle of samsara. Oh, my friend, have you heard about the wheel of life? How we all go round and round if we don't break free from it. Oh, my friend, do you know about the sufferings when your heart aches and breaks, when your mind's unsatisfied? And if we live life mindlessly, unaware of the things we do, unfulfilled with the love we have, and be assured with what I have to say. I fear that we will live on in samsara if we hold on to all our desires, delusion, and hatred that keeps burning within, that keeps burning within. I fear that we will live on in samsara throughout lifetimes, through the realms that we know of in circles with ego that keeps burning within, that keeps burning within. Don't you see? There's karma everywhere. There's reactions to our actions that we cannot see right now. Be aware of all you do in life. For what lays ahead of us, it's all in our hands. I fear that we live on in samsara if we hold on to all our desires, illusion, and hatred that keeps burning within, that keeps burning within. I fear that we live on in samsara through our lifetimes, through the realms that we know of, in circles with evil that keeps burning within, that keeps burning within, burning within.
Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Good morning. Happy and very nice to see all of you again on another online Sundays Buddha Puja service. Remember, during the Buddha Puja service, to have a calm mind. Please prepare a candle or oil lamp to offer at your altar. Wait for the announcement to light the candle together with Venerable Dr. Dhammapala. To those who have joined us for the very first time, welcome to Subang Jaya Buddhist Association number 45, online Sundays Buddha Puja service. We have been organizing this weekly online Puja service in order to give an opportunity to Buddhist devotees near and far to continue with our Buddhist faith and practices during this COVID-19 period. Thank you for those who join us so early in the morning. Well done to all of you, and thank you for all your wishes and in the comment box. Let us prepare ourselves by sitting comfortably, relax our bodies, and compose our mind. Let go of thinking about the past and future and be in the present moment. And before I go on, I'd like to say again, thank you for the young group Buddy Sings for joining us this morning. Offerings to the Buddha. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us begin our Sunday Buddha Puja service, and with respect, let us invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to make the offerings to the Buddha. You may, to your devotees, you may also light your candles now, or oil lamp, and for the rest of you, please place your palms together in Anjali position. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 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 Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us pay homage to the Triple Gems. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, together we shall invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to administer to us the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. Ahang bante samsara vata dukkhato mochana taya tisara nena saha pancha silang dhammang yachami anugahang katva silang deta me bante. Dutiyampi ahang bante samsara vata dukkhato mochana taya tisaranena saha pancha silang dhammang yachami anugahang katva silang deta me bante. Tatiyampi ahang bante sangsara vata dukkhato mochana taya tisaranena saha pancha silang dhammang yachami anugahang katva silang deta me bante.
Namaskara. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Panchasila. Panatipata รมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
อานาติปาตาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
อดินนาดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
อดินนาดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
กาเมสุมิจฉาจาระเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
คาเมสุมิจฉาจาระเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
โมสาวาดาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
มุสาวาดาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
สุราเมรยมัจจปมาดัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
สุราเมรยมัจจพมาดัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
อิมานิปัญจสิกขาปดานิสมาธิยามิ
อิมานิปัญจสิกขาปดานิสมาธิยามิอิมานิปัญจสิกขาปดานิสมาธิยามิอิมานิปัญจสิกขาปดานิสมาธิยามิ
อัปปมาเดนะสัมปาเดต
อามาบันเตสาธุสาธุสาธุ
Buddhanusati, recollection of the Buddha. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manosanang buddho bhagavati. Dhammanusati, recollection of the Dhamma. Suakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanayiko pachatang veditabo vinyohiti. Sanghanusati, recollection of the Sangha. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Ujjapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samici patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidang chattari purisa yogani atta purisa pogala เอสภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุเนโยปาหุเนโยดาคิเนโยอัญจลิการณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญาเกตังโลกัสสาติ Chetya Vandana, salutation to the holy shrine. Vandami Chetiyang Sabbang Sabbatane Supatititang Saririka Dhatu Mahabodhi Buddha Rupang Sakalang Sada Bodhi Vandana, salutation to the Bodhi tree. Yasas mole nisinova sabari vichayang akha pato sabbanyutang satta vanditang bodhipadapang Ime ete mahabodhi lokanatena pujita aham pite namasami bodhiraja namatute Padipa Puja, offering of light. Ganasarapaditena dipena tamadansina Tilokadipang sambuddhang pujayami tamonodang Dhupa Puja, offering of incense. Gandha sambarayutena dupenahang sugandhina pujaye pujaneyantang puja bhajanamutamang Pupa Puja, offering of flowers. Vanaganda gunopetang etang kusuma santati Pujayami munindasa saripada saroruhe Pujemi buddhang kusumena nena Pengena mettena ca hotu mokang Popang milaya tiyata idang me Gayo tata yati vinasa bhavang Paniya Puja, offering of water. Ativa setu no bante paniyang parikapitang anukampang upadaya patiganhatu mutamang asking for forgiveness. Kayena vacha cittena pamadena maya katang acayang kamame bante buripanya tathagata Kayena vacha cittena pamadena maya katang Achayang kamame dhamma sanditika akalika Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya gatang Achayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu
Namo Buddhaya. Good morning, Pante, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. This morning, we are very pleased to have Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to be with us in our Sunday Buddha Puja. Venerable Dr. Dhammapala will be giving a Dhamma talk, both in English and in Mandarin. Our brothers and sisters in the Dharma, if you have any questions related to the talk, please type your questions in the comment section. We shall then invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to answer your question after his talk. Most of us, if not all, have got to know Venerable Dr. Dhammapala very well. But still, please allow me to introduce Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to those who may be new today. Venerable Dr. Dhammapala was born in Kuching in 1970. He was ordained as Upasampada Bhikkhu in Wat Chong, Kedah in 1994 under the most respected Chao Kun, Praraj Dhammathara, who was the chief Sangha in Malaysia. Subsequently, he sought spiritual dependence under the guidance of Venerable Dhammasakaro Mahathero. He spent 15 years studying Buddhist philosophy, Pali and Sanskrit literature in Sri Lanka and Hong Kong. In 2009, Venerable Dr. Dhammapala obtained his doctorate of philosophy in Buddhist studies under the supervision of the very famous professor, Venerable K.L. Dhamajoti in the University of Hong Kong. After his graduation, he was appointed as the chief editor and spiritual director for the Buddhist Store website, one of the oldest and largest Buddhist websites in the world. In 2010 and 2013, he was the visiting assisting professor at the Center of Buddhist Studies, the University of Hong Kong. He traveled frequently conducting meditation retreats, Dhamma talks and teachings in Malaysia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China. Venerable Dr. Dhammapala is also one of the monastic advisors of the Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, with due respect, we invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to begin the Dhamma talk on the struggle of Siddhartha Bodhisattva for enlightenment. 各位佛友们，今天我们非常的开心，有这个机缘，请到法护比丘为我们佛法开示，题目是从巴利经典看悉达多菩萨觉悟的奋斗。我们尊敬的邀请法护比丘。With due respect, we invite Pante.
Okay, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya. Brother Chim, 你的中文已经不错了哈。
多多跟你Pante 学习。
很好，很好，下次可以用中文来弘法了。Okay, so thank you very much. Okay, now, before the Siddhartha got enlightenment, right? He was called the Bodhisattvas. And the word Bodhisattvas that used in the early Pali discourses refer to his pre-awakening experiences. While he was striving very hard in quest for his enlightenment during his 6 years of struggle of asceticism. So our talk today, the struggle of Siddhartha Bodhisattvas for enlightenment. So we are going to see, is the Bodhisattva striving to become enlightened one exclusively concerning for himself, or did he practice compassion to serve sentient beings before his enlightenment? That is to say, his concern for others before his enlightenment. Generally, people think that Bodhisattvas, who is supposedly compassionate to serve sentient beings before his enlightenment. But is it the case recorded in the early Pali discourses? 所以呢，在悉达多呢尚未觉悟前呢，他被称为菩萨哈，所以我们称为他悉达多菩萨哈。所以菩萨呢，指的就是他在觉悟之前啊，在6年的不断苦修呢，努力寻求觉悟的人啊。所以呢，今天啊，我们要来谈悉达多菩萨啊觉悟的奋斗。那今天呢，我们要来讨论的就是菩萨的修行啊，哈，他是为自己着想吗？还是呢，他在觉悟之前呢，就已经拥有悲心来利益众生呢？是不是在觉悟之前啊，就一直为众生的利益着想呢？啊，所以一般上呢，我们说人们普遍呢就会认为菩萨呢就是有慈悲心的啊，但是在这个早期的巴利经典里面，是否有这样的一个记载，这样的一个情况呢？啊 ，So I will, illustrate briefly, the Siddhartha's quest for enlightenment by showing several suttas description of his earnest striving experience while he was a bodhisattva, to give you an understanding of the problems that he faced during his striving, including his severe ascetic practices and experience, the battle with his unwholesome thoughts in the mind. And finally, he found a way out to his full realization. So this is what we are going to see today, the Bodhisattva's struggle for enlightenment. Then after the Buddha's enlightenment, his compassion outflow, flow naturally for all sentient beings. Then he started his missionary career to spread the Dhamma for the sake of all sentient beings. Is it the same also for his enlightened disciple called Arhat? Perhaps people have a wrong conception that an Arhat is selfish, only caring for himself, not caring for others. But is it true in the early suttas? 所以呢，我要简短的一个描述，就是悉达多呢，他种种的这个修行的奋斗，所以呢，使到你更了解菩萨呢在奋斗过程中所面对的挑战。那这些挑战包括就是他经历就是很严厉的这个苦行和种种在生命里面修行的一些可怕经验，还有呢就是跟他内心的这个不善的这个内心的斗争但他最后呢，凭着他不懈努力找到了解脱的出路呢。所以呢，这个是我们今天要谈的这个菩萨奋斗的经历。那佛陀呢，觉悟之后呢，佛陀悲悯众生所以呢，他就度化这个众生的工作。那还有跟随他的弟子呢，成就了这个阿罗汉之后呢，是不是也一样悲悯众生呢？所以很多人对阿罗汉有偏见就是有意见，就认为说阿罗汉呢是自私的只关心自己而不关心别人。那么在早期的这些经典里面呢，是不是也有这样子的这个记载呢？ So first, I will quote several suttas from the early Pali discourses to show you that the Bodhisattvas is indeed struggling for his enlightenment. And one of the suttas is called Sangarava Suttas. Right? And this sutta says living as household life is very difficult for the cultivation of the path of liberation. Right? So it is only through the renunciation or going forth, becoming a recluse, that is only possible for the path of liberation. And because of this, prompted him to renounce the worldly life and became a recluse to lead a holy life. Right? So the sutta read like this, yeah? Household life is crowded and dusty, and life gone forth is wide open. It is not easy while living in a home to lead the holy life utterly perfect. Right? So why don't I shave off my hair and beard, dress in orchard robes, and go forth from the lay life to homelessness? 那接下来呢，我们要看一些早期的经典就是有关于悉达多乔达摩菩萨呢寻求他觉悟的这个奋斗那在这个中部Sangarava Sutta 有描述就是悉达多乔达摩呢菩萨呢为何他出家放弃世俗生活，那过着圣洁的生活的目的。那经典是这样的描述，就是形容就是当我还是菩萨未取得正觉的时候呢，我这样想，在家生活呢有很多的障碍是尘垢之道，出家生活有如空旷的地方那样没有障碍。那在家生活不易生活在圆满清净那种的梵行之中让我剃掉头发和胡须，穿着袈裟衣，从家庭生活出家，过没有家庭的生活吧。那从这一部经典可以看得出来呢，在家修行会面对很多的障碍，也不容易得到解脱。所以呢，出家就是剃掉这个头发和胡须呢，穿着这个袈裟衣呢，有利于就是内心的这个解脱。In other suttas, Bhaya Bhairava suttas, right? The Bodhisattvas struggle with his unwholesome mental qualities, which he describes how he faced fear that had arisen while he was living in seclusion. So the sutta read like this. So, before my enlightenment, while I was still only an unenlightened bodhisattva, I too consider dust, remote jungle thicket, resting places in the forest are hard to endure. The jungles must rob a bhikkhu of his mind if he has no concentration. So it is not easy if living alone in the forest, right? 那么在这个中部呢，就是恐惧惊慌经里面也有描述，就是菩萨呢，就是以他不善的心理素质这样的一个斗争。那其中呢，就是他内心不善的这个念头，比如说恐惧害怕。那这些不善的念头呢，其实是不断的在阻挠菩萨的修行的。所以经典有这样的一段我读出来，他说：当我还是菩萨未取得正觉的时候呢，我这样想，在偏僻的森林居住呢是非常难的过远离的生活也是很难的，很难乐于独处，就是一个人相处呢也不容易很难所以呢，森林肯定会取去一个没有得定的比丘的心Then another suttas, right, is Mahasacaka Suttas. That's from the Majjhima Nikaya, right? Then it says that after he's going forth, right, he went in search of conducive places for cultivation. The sutta says, still in search, monks, of what is wholesome. I wandered through the Magadhan country until I arrived at Uruvela near Senanigama. There, I saw an agreeable piece of ground, a delightful grove with a clear flowing river with pleasant, smooth banks, and nearby a village for alms resort. And this will serve for the striving of a people who intend on striving. 所以他那么这悉达多乔达摩菩萨呢出家后呢，他便去寻找这个善法。那他就来到了这个优罗平婆的舍那村那么在那里呢，就是有适合 修行的这个环境哈，所以经典有记载，就在那个地方呢，地方十分的宜人啊，丛林呢使人感到非常的愉悦，对不对？那河流呢流着很清澈的河水，有宜人的渡口，那附近还有村落，那也可以呢在那里托钵化缘啊，所以呢这个地方是一个很好的条件呢，给人家精进啊修习的。While Bodhisattva was prepared, to embark on his journey of practice, three similes, it says in the suttas, occurred in him spontaneously that he was never heard of before, of which the third simile is a severe practice of austerity as only means the struggle for enlightenment. So the sutta read like this. I said, the third simile occurred to me spontaneously. Suppose there were a dry piece of wood lying on dry land far from water, and a man came with an upper fire stick, thinking, I shall light a fire, I shall produce heat. What do you think? Agivesana is the name of the Brahmin. Could the man light a fire? Yes, Master Gautama. Why so? Because it is a dry piece of wood and it is lying on dry land far from water. What is the implication of this simile? This simile suggests that the defilements are able to be abandoned only through the severe practice of austerity. And finally, one is able to realize the supreme enlightenment. So, the simile giving him clues that the enlightenment is possible only through the severe practice of austerity. 菩萨呢，就是他选择好宜人的这个修行环境之后呢，那这时候呢，他就准备要修行的时候，他心中呢就出现了这三个比喻了。那这个比喻呢，是以前的他没有听过的，尤其是这第三个比喻啊，就是菩萨呢相信，就是通过呢苦行可以得到解脱。所以呢，这个苦行的方法呢，就是激发了这个菩萨的这个斗争呢可以通过不断的这个折磨身体呢，烦恼才能够断除的，得到呢这个无上正等正觉。所以呢，菩萨呢一开始呢就认为苦行的修行呢才是解脱的途径啊。那经典是这样子说的，他说火种这个就是婆罗门的这个名字他说在我心中升起的比喻是呢，假如有一条干燥的木材被人放在这个干地上，一个人拿着一只木锤呢就是走来，想用那条木材呢来生热取火。那火种你认为怎么样？那个人能否用这个木锤和那条的木材来生热取火呢？那乔大摩呢贤者说能的。这是什么原因呢？因为那条木材干燥和被人放在这个干地上就是很干的地上，所以火种同样的，任何沙门婆罗门呢，如果能从身体所带来的欲乐之中呢退却出来那能善于舍去和善于平息内心对贪欲的爱欲爱着、迷恋、苛求、热爱的话呢，在感受到强烈、猛烈、激烈的苦受时呢，他们有能力得到正等无上正觉的知和见。所以呢，这第三个比喻呢，就促使了这个菩萨呢认为这个苦行呢才是修行的这个解脱的途径。So this is how he started his extreme painful striving. Then first he took a very little food, a handful each time. And because of eating so little, my belly skins adhere to my backbone. Thus, if I touch my belly skin, I encounter my backbone, and if I touch my backbone, I encounter my belly skin. Because of eating so little, if I defecated or urinated, I felt over on my face there. And because of eating so little, I tried to ease my body by rubbing my limbs with my hands. The hair rotted at its root fell from the body as I rubbed. So he took a very little food until his whole body shriveled and withered. So this is his extreme painful striving. 那么也因为这个比喻啊，所以呢，太子就是菩萨呢，他终于呢决定就是修这个极端的这个苦行哦。那么这种的极端苦行呢，是无人就是能人所不能啊，忍人所不忍受人所不受的这个苦行。那这是菩萨呢修苦行的经验呢，他这个过程啊，那么经典这样的描述啊，就是他其实这苦行还蛮极端的，就是火种啊，我因为吃食物少啊，所以腹部呢跟脊椎呢连接在一起。当我按着我腹部的时候呢，能触摸到这个脊骨；当我按着脊骨的时候呢，我能够触摸到我的腹部。我因为呢食物少当我去大小便时，我倒在那里我因为食物少当我用手按摩肢体的时候呢，这坏死的体毛呢便从这个肢体呢掉了下来。所以可以想象呢，他这个修行呢是非常非常的极端的。Then the bodhisattvas, right, consider his practice as the most painful experience, as no one in the past, in the present, nor in the future ever experienced such an austerity. So he thought, right, whatever recruits brought me in the past, or in the present, or in the future, have experienced painful, racking, piercing feeling due to exertion. This is the utmost. There is none beyond this. But by this painful practice of austerity, I have not attained any superhuman states. I have not attained any distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones. Could there be another path to enlightenment? Right? So, while the bodhisattvas was thinking, could there be another path to enlightenment? Then another thought comes in, right? As if he discovered the answer, right? So this is a path to enlightenment. So he seems, to found the answer. 那么在这个菩萨呢，就是经历了这么多年的这个严厉的这个苦行呢，可以说呢，是在过去现在、未来呢，都没有人能承受的这种苦咸的极限。所以菩萨呢，他心想，他说，过去呢，现在、未来呢，任何沙门、婆罗门所感受到的苦受呢，没有比我这个更强烈、更猛烈、更激烈的了。这就是极限的了。我修习这种激烈的苦行呢，但依然不能得到过人之法，不能取得圣者的知见，难道有其他的道路通往觉悟吗？后来他想想，他说这样子不行的。他说，后来呢，他思维呢要如何走下去的时候呢，突然一个记忆飘来他升起了这样子的一个心师父他找到了答案了，这就是呢通往觉悟的道路。他找到了答案。So finally, right, in the Majjhima Nikaya, right, in the Mahasacaka Suttas, right, he discovered the path to enlightenment, right? Before that, because of his extreme formal ascetic practices, right, so he gave up. Then he thought to himself, right, his body is so weak, right, I cannot obtain the happiness at all through this kind of ascetic practices. Then he started, to eat the milk, rice, and porridge offered by Sujata, right? According to the history, right? Sujata offered him the milk rice in order to regain his strength. And because of this, his earliest 5 attendants also left him. And now he becomes alone, right? So he was thinking, the way ahead. Then a memory, came to him. Yeah, this is a path to enlightenment. So we are going to see what is this path to enlightenment, right? And the suttas read like this. It said, I recall that when my father, the Sakyan, was occupied, while I was sitting in the cool shade of a rose apple tree and secluded from the sensual pleasure, secluded from unwholesome states, I entered and dwelt in the first jhana, right? Which is accompanied by thought and examination, with rapture and happiness born of seclusion. Could this be the path to enlightenment? Then, following on that memory, came the realization, this is indeed the path to enlightenment. 那悉达多菩萨啊，他放弃了多年的苦行，那心想他说：“我身体啊这么弱，对不对？无法得到快乐啊，所以他放弃了这个苦行。那又重回呢赐回这个初食的这个粥啊米这个粥哈。那他身边的这5位侍者呢也因为这样的情况呢，所以选择离开他了。所以呢，他现在是独自一个人。那时呢，他就想到，就在他坐下的时候，他沉思，他说：“我要怎么修行呢？”就在那时候呢，就有一个记忆飘来哈。他说，在我儿时呢，曾经跟随父王参加一次的这个耕田典礼哈。那因为他不喜欢这个热闹所以呢，他选择离开这个典礼，而独自一人到附近的一个小树林。那就是说一棵这个葡萄树下打坐那很快的他进入了这个初禅所以他内心离开了这个五欲，那离开了这不善法，有寻有失，又有离开五欲和不善法所升起的这个喜和乐，所以他进入了这个初禅了。这个是呢他在他小的时候呢有过很好的这样一个经验。So the bodhisattvas recollect this method of breathing in and breathing out. Mindfulness is anapanasati. And very soon he attains 4 jhanas and realize the 3 vidyas or 3 higher knowledge. And this 3 higher knowledge is the knowledge of the recollection of past life, right? And the knowledge of the passing away and rebirth of beings, and the knowledge of the destruction of the defilements. So along this path, right, from entering into the jhana, 2nd jhana, 3rd jhana, 4th jhana, and later on he realized 3 vidyas. So this is the path to the enlightenment that the Buddha experienced. So we are not going to go details of this experience of jhana and 3 knowledges. But I think more important is to know these are gradual stages to enlightenment experience. 当这个菩萨他想的时候呢，他就想说，他要如何走向这个觉悟的时候呢，他回想就是儿时呢曾经修的这个出入法出入系法，就是 Anapanasati。那这一部经呢，提供了这个证悟这个过程次第的这种描述，就是包括4禅还有3明。那就是从这以上的这个巴利经典的探讨当他还是菩萨的时候呢，未取得正觉的时候呢，说明了这个悉达多乔达摩这个菩萨呢，以他不善的这个思想的斗争，苦行的修行，最后放弃，然后修习这个入处信念获得了这4禅。 那使他那由于这个定而升起这个三明那他终于觉悟了。那这三明是什么呢？第一就是宿命智，这宿命智呢，就是他可以呢记得在他过去无数生的生活的方式，还有一些生活的细节比如说那一生是什么名字什么种姓等等等等的，寿命有多长然后又投生在哪一世那第二呢，就是众生的生死智。那这个众生的生死智呢，就是他可以看见众生怎么样死死后呢又再次投生那也在不同的这个阅历的这个驱使之下呢，不管他是投生在这个善趣或者是在恶趣里面他都能够看见的，就是第二种众生的生死智。那第三呢，就是漏尽智了。这里的漏呢，就是所有的烦恼断尽了，他看到了苦，看到了寂，看到了灭，看到了道，就是看到了是圣地所以呢，他的这个知见他的心呢，便从这个我们说什么欲漏有漏无明漏全部的解脱出来所以这个叫做漏尽智。So, yeah, we have seen, right, the struggle of Bodhisattvas, Gautamas for enlightenment. And that is to seek for himself the liberation, right? So, in one of the texts, right, of Tibetan scholars in a German university, his name is Wancho, right? And then he has wrote something, right, in his PhD thesis. He said that there is no canonical evidence for theory that the main motive for the Buddha's appearance in the world was for the sake of others. And this idea is found only in the post-canonical literature. And this overwhelming majority of the canonical materials suggests that he was concerned with his own realization. So, yeah, from several suttas that we have quoted before, show you the Buddha's, the Bodhisattva's Gautama's struggle for enlightenment is to seek for himself the liberation from the birth, aging, sickness, and death. So obviously, the suttas that we have earlier discussed does not seem to support the Bodhisattva's concern for others. 那我们再做一个简单的一个整合一下，就是佛陀呢，他出现于这个世间的动机呢，不是为了他人的利益，他只关注呢自己的解脱而已。那一位呢，德国的大学，就在德国大学一位教授呢，藏传的学者呢，他在他的一篇博士论文有提到，就是大意是这样的，就是说没有经典文献说明佛陀的出现于世间主要的动机呢，是为了他人的利益。那这个概念呢，只是在后期的一些文献中找到大部分的文献都说明，他其实只关注他自己的解脱而已。So these attitudes of the lack of concern for others, right, is quite obvious. Right? A lack of concern for others, especially in the Arya Pariyasana Suttas. The sutta says, the Buddhas, who enlightened not long ago, he was quite reluctant to teach others, and his mind inclined to inaction rather than to teaching the Dhamma, and decided to remain at ease with having reached liberation for himself, and he has no intention to preach to all beings. So the sutta reads like this. It says, I consider this Dhamma that I have attained is profound, hard to see and hard to understand, peaceful and sublime, unattainable by mere reasoning, subtle to be experienced by the wise. If I were to teach the Dhamma, others would not understand me, and that would be varying and troublesome for me. So the word that he used is varying and troublesome for me. Right? So that suggests he has no concern for others, immediately after his enlightenment. So then 中文那么在这个寻求圣法经那么里面有一段记载，就有说菩萨呢觉悟之后呢就是成为佛陀之后呢，他停留在禅定解脱的宁静喜悦当中那时因为呢佛陀他所证的这个法非常的深奥，所以呢他开始的时候呢是其实没有想要去度化众生的这样的意愿，因为他想他说他所证的这个法呢特别的深奥也很难懂就是很难察觉，就是很纯高那他不从这个逻辑推理而得到深入，那知者呢当中会有所体验的。如果我对别人说法呢，人们不会明白的，这个呢只会给我自己带来疲劳，只会白费心机所以呢他说假如果人们无法理解他所体证的法的话呢，那对他来说这个是疲劳那只会白费心机，所以呢他宁可独自一人沐浴在这个解脱的喜悦当中。Then in the same suttas, right, when the thought that reluctant to teach the dhammas to others arises in the mind of the Buddhas, it says that the Brahma Sahampati, right, the creator God, right, the Brahma Sahampati appeared in front of the Buddhas and pleaded him all compassion for beings to preach the Dhamma. Then of course, this definitely does not imply that the Buddha was not compassionate. This shows that the Buddhas, once enlightened, he possessed the compassion qualities for all beings. So then Brahma Sahampati, invited the Buddhas, to survey the world out of compassion. Okay? 那么在同样的一部经典呢，就是有谈到就是佛陀觉悟之后呢，他不愿度化众生的这个意愿。那么当这样的一个意愿呢念头呢出现在佛陀的这个脑海里那么这个大梵天神就是 Brahma Sahampati 就出现在佛陀面前，就是恳求佛陀呢就是为求度脱众生的痛苦去宣扬佛法吧。所以呢我们可以看到的，就经过了这个大梵天神的邀请之后呢，那佛陀呢就对众生升起这个悲心然后佛陀呢就用慧眼来观察世间，的确呢就是有一些众生呢还是可以明了佛法的。Okay, so yeah, in other suttas, right? Yeah, particularly in the Dutiya Marapasa Suttas, right? The compassion for others arises as a result of his awakening. And this also applies to the awakening of an arahat as well. Right? So this is a good example. So in these suttas, the Buddhas, right, dispatched, sent out, the first batch of 60 arahats, to 60 different directions to preach the dhammas, out of compassion for the people after they had realized the state of arahathood. So the sutta says like that. That's a wander forth, O bhikkhus, or go forth bhikkhus, for the welfare of the multitude, for the happiness of the multitude, out of compassion for the world, for the good, for the welfare, for the happiness of devas and human. Let not two go the same way. Teach, O bhikkhus, the dhammas. Right? So this is from these suttas. So you can see that even Arahat, after attain enlightenment, that compassion also arises in them very spontaneously, right? 所以呢，在另外一部经哈，就也找到一个很好的例子，就是佛陀呢，他派遣他第一批的这个60位阿罗汉比丘，那他们都已经证悟了啊，所以呢，佛陀呢就说你们呐要前往60个不同的方向啊，这是对于世间的悲悯啊，向人们宣讲佛法啊，所以呢。这个呢，就是我们说阿罗汉呢，他自然流露出来的这种悲悯心啊，就是帮助众生得到解脱啊。所以呢，经典是这样的，就是说，他说比丘们啊，佛陀告诉比丘，他说比丘们啊，我已从天和人的罗网啊之中解脱出来，你们也从天和人的罗网之中解脱出来啊，比丘们。为了许多众生的利益，为了许多众生的快乐，为了悲悯世间，为了天和人的福祉、利益、快乐，你们去游行啊，你们出去说法吧啊！所以呢，我们可以看得出来，这些阿罗汉呢，还是有那种对众生的那种悲悯啊，不是呢像我们一般认为说阿罗汉是自私的自了汉的这个是不太好这样子来形容这个阿罗汉。Then in another suttas, right, Jina Suttas, it says, we all know Venerable Mahakashyapa, right? And he was, grown old, stay in seclusion, right? He practiced Rutanga all the time. And the Buddhas, asked him, to give up the ascetic practices and stay in a monastery. You know what Mahakassapa said? He said, he chose the solitude life in the forest is for the sake of the future generation. He was so compassionate, right? Then he says, for myself, I see a pleasant dwelling in this very life. And I have compassion for later generation, thinking, may those of later generation follow my example. Right? So when they hear the enlightened disciple of the Buddhas were for a long time forest dwellers and spoke in praise of forest dwelling, then they will practice accordingly, and that will lead to their welfare and happiness for a long time. So you can see, how compassionate is the Mahakashyapa. And at the end of the suttas, the Buddha says to Venerable Mahakashyapa, that's a good Kashyapa, you are practicing very well for the welfare and happiness of the many. Our compassion for the world, for the good, for the welfare, for the happiness of devas and humans. So this is also another good example. You see that the Buddha's disciple, who has already attained Arahat, they also have the compassion, for the sake, for the world, right? For the good, welfare, happiness of the devas and the humans. 那这是另外一部也很好的很好的这个证明就是阿罗汉呢，他们也是富有这个慈悲心那在这一部经里面这相应迦叶相应里面，那佛陀呢，他敦促就是年老的这个迦叶尊者，我们都知道迦叶尊者呢是就是苦行僧那么也就敦促他，你也年老了你应该要放弃这个苦行生活，那住在这个寺院里面有很多其他弟子可以照料但是呢，这个迦叶尊者他说，为了后代的利益呢，他以身作则，建立好榜样，所以呢，他继续选择在森林里面就是独处，就是过着简单的生活。所以呢，这样子的一个生活就是迦叶尊者对后代僧团的这个悲悯心 所以呢，佛陀呢之后就回答了这个迦叶尊者，他说迦叶啊，十分好，十分好哦，十分好，你为许多众生带来利益，为许多众生带来快乐你悲悯世间，为天和人带来福祉、利益、快乐。那迦叶，既然是这样的话呢，那你就继续穿着粗麻旧布衣啦、化石啦，在森林生活吧。所以呢，我们可以看得到的就是佛陀其实他没有反对苦行生活那当然我们也讲说佛陀之前呢，他有6年的这个苦行的这个经验呢，他放弃了。那原因是因为呢，那些苦行不能带来他觉悟，所以他放弃了。但对于他的弟子在修苦行的话，佛陀也表示非常的赞叹。Then lastly, we're going to see this, in the Anguttara Nikaya, the sutta called Anukampa Suttas. Right? It is said that the monks who are not enlightened yet, right? They are trained to possess these 5 qualities. So these are compassionate qualities, shown to the lay people. So the Buddha says, monks should possess these 5 qualities, showing our compassion to the lay people. And what are these 5? I think it's also worth, looking into it, So the first is said, he encouraged them in regard to the virtuous behavior, right? And this virtuous behavior is regard to the sila, So encourage the devotees, to observe the 5 precepts, 8 precepts, etc., etc. Right? Encourage them. And the second one, he settled them in the vision of the Dharma. So he preached the Dharma to them, clear their doubt with regard to the Dharma. Right? So this is also our compassion for the lay people. And the third, when they are ill, right, he approached them and aroused mindfulness by saying, let the honorable ones establish mindfulness on that which is worthy. So the Buddha also encouraged us, if anybody felt sick or ill, right, it is also our job, our compassion to go to them, to arouse their mindfulness in them. Okay, establish mindfulness in them. So this is also our compassion for the lay people. And then the fourth, it says that when a large Sangha or bhikkhu has arrived, including bhikkhus from various states, he approached the lay people and informed them, as friends, a large Sangha or bhikkhu has arrived, right? Including the bhikkhus from various states or from various countries. Please come and make merry. It is an occasion, an auspicious occasion to make merry. You see, so it is also the monks, the compassionate quality, telling the people, please come to make merry when there are so many monks in the temple, right? So the last one, he himself eats whatever foods they give him, and devotees gift offered. Whether it is good or bad, coarse or excellent, he does not squander what has been given out of faith. Right? So these are the 5 compassionate qualities. That to have these 5 compassionate qualities, monks, show compassion to the lay people. So the monk, train us, to be compassionate to the lay people, with these 5 qualities. And 在最后呢，我们来看一则很好的这个例子，就是我们也看到了佛陀看到了阿罗汉。那佛陀是怎么教导这些出家，就是还没有证悟的这些凡夫比丘呢？所以佛陀讲说这些比丘也要具备呢悲悯在家人的这个素质。那从这5个这个数字呢，可以看得出来呢，佛陀教导比丘呢，要富有这个悲悯心所以呢，我觉得也是很值得来看的，就是有这5法就是悲悯在家人。是哪5法呢？就是第一，就是教在家人早守修习真上戒这里的戒呢，就是指5戒所以呢，在南传的寺院呢，每次出家都会给戒，对吧？给戒，然后给弘法那这也是呢，出家人对在家人的这个 悲悯心哈。那第二呢，就是令在家人听闻到佛法所以呢，出家人的工作也是要讲法的所以呢，我们出家人也要多听闻佛法，也要专究佛法那么能够让更多在家人能够得益，这也是我们出家人这种对众生的一种悲悯。那第三呢，就是前往就是在家的病人那里就是提醒他们要升起这个念要升起这个念。所以呢，佛陀也很强调，就是说，只要是有在家人生病那么我们出家人呢也有这个责任，就是要前往他的这个病床前给他说法，然后呢叫他呢提起这个正念提起这个正念的心不要给这个病呢打败了他的这个心所以用这个正念提起来。那第四呢就是当住处有很多比丘从各处地方到来，成为一个很人数众多的僧团时呢，那这个比丘他会前往在家人那里，然后告诉他们说贤友们住处有很多的比丘呢从各个地方到来那么你们要做福吧就是来做福报吧来做布施供养吧那这也是你们就是做福报的这个时机了所以基于对众生的这种悲悯心所以呢，我们出家人有时也要让信徒知道说，我们有很多出家人在这里修行你们来做福报那这也是对众生的这个悲悯。那第五呢，就是无论在家人布施怎么样的食物他都会受用，而且会珍惜信众所供养的这些食物所以呢，基于这五法的那么常住比丘呢就能够悲悯众生了So now to conclude, right, from the early Pali discourses, right, of these bodhisattvas' struggle for enlightenment, you don't find attitudes of concerning for others, right, as the motivation for his enlightenment. He was first concerned only for himself, to find liberation for himself, right? That is his primary concern for his awakening. However, this does not definitely, imply that the Buddha was not compassionate. You see, the quality of showing the compassion for other beings that's born spontaneously, that arises as a result of his awakening, and the same also apply for the Arhat. And of course, the Buddhas also trained, his enlightened monks, or disciples, to also possess these qualities of compassion for devotees. 那最后呢，我们来总结一下就是觉悟后的这个佛陀还有这些他的觉悟后的这些弟子阿罗汉呢，都是具备对众生的悲悯那这也包括就是僧侣要具备要对这个信徒这无法的教导所以呢，这也是基于对众生的这个悲悯所以这也是我们说悲悯众生，这个是圣者的特质来的。所以呢，在巴利经典呢就是当我还是菩萨，所以我们看到很多的这个开头就说，当我还是菩萨，还未证得正觉的时候呢就是怎么说呢，就对众生升起那种没有提到就对众生升起这种悲悯心反而呢是菩萨呢寻求他自身的这个解脱但他成佛之后觉悟之后呢，阿罗汉也是呢就对这个众生呢升起这种很强烈的悲悯心了。那这个就是我们看到呢这些圣者们对众生苦难的众生所流露出来的这种慈悲是没有分别的不着相的，就很纯粹的来指导众生去向解脱苦的熄灭。所以同样的，对还没有觉悟的比丘，佛陀也教导这五法，也是对这个在家人的这种悲悯这种的慈悲。好，谢谢。那么只要大家还有什么问题的话呢我们现在有时间我们来讨论一下。
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bante, for the very interesting and very educational, informative talk on the struggle of Siddhartha Bodhisattva for enlightenment. And with so many of the references on the sutta, they give us a very good understanding of the struggle of the Bodhisattva for enlightenment. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, now is a Q&A session. Do you have any question for Venerable Dr. Dhammapala? Yeah, the first question, Bante. When the Bodhisattva received the prediction from the Dipankara Buddha that he would be the future Buddha Gautama, the Bodhisattva make a strong aspiration to save other sentient beings. Is there any contradiction with the Bodhisattva's strong quest for his final liberation?
Okay. Yeah, we have not touched on that part yet. I hope I will be able to deliver that talk next month. But of course, to understand this, I think we have to understand a bit of the Buddhist history, right? After the Buddha's passing away, I think 200-300 years later, Sanghas were split, into two main schools, right? One is Sabhiravada or Theravada, another one is Mahasamkhika, right? Then again, within these two schools, split so many into many small branches, like 18 school, etc. So what we call these periods of Buddhism is a sectarian Buddhism. Then during the Third Buddhist Council, we all know that the King Ashoka, he called for the Third Buddhist Council. And the main reason is that there were so many different opinions and disputes in the Sanghas. And the King Ashoka, he intended to restore the purity of the Sangha community. And during these periods, we also saw a group of monks. You see, they were interested in the previous life stories of the Buddhas, and they began to compile the texts like our Theravada suttas, like I think some of you might know, suttas like Buddha Vangsa or Janaka or some other texts, you see, and where these texts recorded many previous life stories of the Buddhas, like his struggle, his cultivation of 10 paramitas, etc., of his practice of 10 paramis, and of course, his prediction by the Dipankara Buddha, etc. And surprisingly, in our Theravada Abhidhamma, there is no such record of the developments of the ideal of bodhisattvas at all. And some researchers says, during these periods, we see the trace of the origins of the developments of the body of the bodhisattvas, in Theravada Buddhism. There was about 200-300 years later. You see, for instance, like you have said, in the Buddha Vangsa, the Gautama, he, of course, before, he was called Sumedha, right? And he met the Dipankara Buddhas, you see, the first of the 24 Buddhas, right? And he was predicted, to be the Gautama Buddhas. That's true, the prophecy. After it says that 4 incalculable, right? 4 incalculable, and 100,000 eons later, he was predicted, right? After that long periods of time, and he was born in Kapilavastu in India. So during this incalculable eons, you see, he perfected his 10 paramis, and in his last life, he became the Buddhas and benefited many sentient beings. So some researchers say that this thought of developments of bodhisattvas idea appeared in the later stage and influenced probably by the early Mahayana bodhisattvas text. And there is a text called Ragna Guna Sanchaya Gata. There's a Mahayana text. It says that this works, has a lot of similarity, with the Buddha Vangsa text. So you can see that, after Buddha's passing away, for that 200-300 years, some of the suttas, influenced by the early Mahayana texts. So now, here we saw two different understanding of bodhisattvas. One is the historical Buddhas, like one we have earlier discussed. He was struggling, so hard, only concerning for himself. And another one is, he was predicted by, Dipankara, vowed to become the Buddhas and have to go through all number of years, incalculable years, for his cultivation of 10 paramitas. So we can see, quite two different things, concept of bodhisattvas. So if you ask me, is his concern for himself or for others? I think the answer could be yes and no, depending on which, thought you belong to. Say like earlier we have discussed concerning for himself, yes. But you look at the later bodhisattva's ideal, he concerned for others. That's why he make vows to enlighten, all the sentient beings. So you can see two different, understanding of bodhisattvas. So indeed, there is bodhisattva's path, right, in Theravada Buddhism. Someone say, is there any Theravada path, right? Yes. Yeah. And of course, to be a bodhisattva, it is extremely difficult, right? It says that in the suttas, you need to fulfill, 8 conditions, make it a vow to become a Buddhist and be able to be predicted by the Buddhas and spend millions of lifetime and billions of years, right, perfecting his 10 paramis. Then he become enlightened one. So this is very, very, very difficult. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Bante, for the very good
I don't know whether you understand or not. I mean, if we are interested, probably we can look into it in our next month Dharma Talk series.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Bante. Now we go for a second question. Is there any? Yeah, from Brother Leong. Could the struggle of the Buddha be due to the belief in Brahmanism and caste system in India at that time?
Could the great struggle of Buddha due to the belief in Brahmanism and caste system in India at that time? Due to belief? I don't think so, because you see the arising of Buddha, in fact, is to challenge the Brahmanism, is to challenge the caste system. So his practice is completely, is different from those practice, or the belief in the Brahmanism and caste system. In fact, he challenged them, those caste systems. So definitely it's not. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bante. Any more questions? Yeah. Also from Brother Leong Yu Ming. He continued with this question: how can people perceive that the Buddha is selfish in not helping people to end suffering and attain enlightenment, when during the Buddha time there are so many people being enlightened just by listening to the Buddha? Isn't it?
I don't really get it.
I think Brother Leong basically emphasized the point that the Buddha has been compassionate in teaching the Dharma, and so many people got enlightened by listening just to the Dharma and have their suffering overcome. Maybe it's making a statement rather than a question, and see whether Bante agree or not.
Of course, now we are talking about, the relationship between men and people is talking about the affinity, right? So if someone has affinity, I think sure, you will get enlightened by the Buddha. So it's about the affinity with someone, right? So I firmly believe that, right? Just like, when we start, the monastery, and we don't expect, to benefit everybody. Only those who come to know us, they will come, or they have affinity with us, and those people will be benefited. I think the same also apply to the Buddha's time. You see, there are so many people that the Buddha still cannot enlighten them because they miss the opportunity, or they could be due to the ego. You see, they don't associate or they have no affinity with the Buddha, so they miss the opportunity.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you, Pan. And also thank you to Brother Leong Yu Ming for the very good observation. Is there any more question, Brother Alfred? One more question from Brother Lim Hock Tik. Bante, what is your comments of Buddhist organizations joining hands with a service NGO in doing wholesome deeds?
I think our Buddhist organization also considered as NGO. In fact, Buddhist organization has done a lot, you know, for for the community. So I think the same also to the SJBA. You see, whenever there is any disasters or whatever, so SJBA will do a lot of charity, you know, appealing, you know, to the devotees and raising fund, you know, to help for that the task. So SJBA, though it's a Buddhist organization, but it's also NGO, I believe. Right? It's also NGO. So they are also doing a great job. Yeah, so I think is it okay? I think probably Brother Shing, you can comment on this because
yeah, certainly, Bante. I think it is our duty also to basically to put our compassion into action as taught by the Buddha. Yeah.
It's true, because especially during this you know, this time, difficult time, we saw also in our Buddhist communities, you know, we have different traditions coming together, from the Mahayana tradition, from the Vajrayana tradition. You see, come together and celebrate the Vesak. So I think this is a very good example. You see, so, you know, get together, cooperate each others, you know, for the good and for the happiness of the many people, I believe.
Yeah, thank you, Bante. Anyway, just one last question, Bante. Just one last question. There are quite a few apparently legends about the Buddha being born from the mother's side or the armpit and walk for 7 steps immediately after birth. Are these just legends, Bante, or are they true?
Of course, many people asking this question, and this is a month of Vesak. And of course, when we were young, we were trained, you know, the Buddha was born from the armpit of his mother. You see, it seems that we don't challenge it. But of course, as time grown up, I think we were still, you know, challenge this. I think it is rather impossible in the realistic life. So I think there are symbols, you know, metaphors, you know, that describes, you know, the Buddha's, you know, who is an extraordinary man, right? Like, for example, he was born from the, you know, armpit, right arm of his mother. That is to show that he was born. We know that, you know, in Indian tradition, right, and the God, you know, created this caste system. You see, they created the Brahmin, created the Sastriya, you know, and they created the Vaishya, and they created the Sudra. And the Buddha was born, you know, as Sastriya. You see, the Sastriya supposed to be, you know, come up from the, what do you call, from the arms of, I mean, the Sastriya created by the God, you know, coming out from the arm, right arm. You see, so that to show that, you know, the Buddha was born as a Sastriya. You see, so that symbolized that he was from the second class of the royal family. So yeah, in the olden days in India, people, you know, like to describe, you know, things through the symbol, right, instead of telling people in a straight, you know, forward manner. And usually people will be attracted, you know, to these styles of teaching through symbols.
Okay, thank you, Bante, for the very interesting and very educational talk this morning, and also very enlightening answers to our questions. On behalf of our devotees, we convey our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Bante. Sadhu, 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 Bante.
Sadhu, sadhu, to Venerable. Thank you very much, Venerable Dhammapala, for the very interesting and a very informative Q&A session. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. This morning we have participated in the Sunday Buddha Puja service, listening to Venerable's Dharma sharing, and great participation at the Q&A session. With the merits accrued, let us invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to lead us in the dedications of merits to all sentient beings, families, relatives, friends, and to the departed ones. The dedication of merits is to include the frontliners who are suffering from the effects of the COVID-19, and to those who have been affected directly and fall sick, may they have a quick recovery, free from sufferings, and be well and happy. May they all rejoice in these merits. Venerable.
Patidana Akasata cha Bommata Devanaga Mahidika Punyantang Anumoditwa Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasanang Chirang Rakantu Desanang Chirang Rakantu Mang Paramti Etavata cha amhehi Sampadang punya sampadang Sabe deva Sabe buddha Sabe satta Anumodantu Sabba sang patisiddhiyang Idang me nyati-nang hotu sukita ontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati-nang hotu sukita ontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati-nang hotu sukita ontu nyatayo. Imang no punya bagang mata pitu nanche acharya nanche sapa sata nanche sapa mita nanche sapa nyati nanche sapa peta nanche sapa devata nanche Bajimang Imang no punya bagang Sapa satanang dema Sabe sata Sukita hontu Imina punya kamena Mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yavanik banapatiya. Idang me punyang asavakaya wahang hotu. Idang me punyang nibbanasa pacayo hotu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Venerable Dr. Dhammapala, thank you very much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu to be with us this morning, Sunday Buddha Puja service. And a very interesting and great Dhamma talk. Brothers and sisters, please help me to thank Venerable Dr. Dhammapala. Thank you to organizing team too. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Before we end, let us pay homage to the Triple Gems. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. To the devotees, thank you very much for participating. Those of you who have stayed until to the transference and sharing of marriage, Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu to you. We have come to the end of this number 45th online Sundays Buddha Puja service. The next Buddha Puja service will be next week, Sunday, 30th of May. You may refer to your society's Facebook for the posters with the information. It may be a good idea to send the posters to your family members and friends. Remember to follow the SOP, stay safe, stay home during this COVID-19 period. May you and family be safe, well, happy, and peaceful always. Please continue to send your wishes over at the comments box. Sukhi hontu, sabbe sattha, sukita hontu.
Bahong sahan semabhinim mita sayudantang ngirimi kelang udita Sasena marang Dana di dhamma vidina Jitwa